Welcome back, Ashanti. I guess while you're here, Ashanti, let me update you on where we are. I gave this presentation yesterday as well, for somebody else that kind of took the week off. So I'll give you the quick version. I still want you to go back and look over those uh those videos that I gave you, but I'll give you a quick synopsis. And Bennett, you get to see it again as well. I'm going to give an overview of what we worked on last week. So both you and Ashanti weren't here, so I'll go over that real quick.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Because I know it's a lot of moving pieces, but if I keep going over enough, you guys will get caught up to not be confused on what we're going to be doing moving forward. Because we're going to work on this all this week. Even depending on everybody's schedule, if we end up having that AI session this Saturday, and all of this is going into next Monday, where we're going to do the whole month of that whole month from 15th to 15th. So our January 30 days, what we're going to work on specifically these models, and the back testing. Now, been something that I wanted to give you that you weren't here also, before I show the presentation again. I mentioned that these are viable analytics. These are viable models that uh, we can pitch this to almost any investment firm. Do you understand that?
Um, no, can you go ahead and talk about
They
it a little bit more?
every investment firm is looking for some kind of updated model, AI integrated model, right?
Hmm.
Because they have the technology and the speed of the high frequency trading and all of their Harvard and MIT graduates. They have all that stuff. But what they don't have, I'm pretty sure at this point, is they don't have AI integration. So if we can come up with these models that are AI integrated, and keep in mind, right now, we are doing our own stack, right? We're doing our own stack of the different AI analysis. But once again, if
Okay.
you really turn this into an app, and then I can go back and show that to you. I can go back to Claude and show you the original Claude, and that's what gave me the idea. But if we can go back, well, not go back, but if we can take these models and turn them into actual apps, we can sell these to institutions, high frequency traders, and investment firms. And they will pay lucrative money for it. Does that make sense?
It does.
So, what I offered is all of the fraternity students, only for the fraternity students. That if we ever go that direction, because here's what we need. We need obviously, we need and I would give them everything I would give them all of the work product. So I would give them the prompts that we use. I would give them all of the like the research on how we compile the list. I would give them the actual this information, the AI building it. I would give them all of that because that's working data that they can use if they wanted to rebuild it, modify it, or anything else. So just on that, that's the first part, is the work product on building it. The second thing is the actual model, especially if we're stacking different analytics, back to back. And then the most important part is the back testing, proving to them that the accuracy is there over an extended period of time. So if we do this over 3 months, 6 months to a year, if we can back test this, and then hand that data over as well, that's what makes it valuable. Because here's the other thing, is that even when they get all of that information, they're going to reverse engineer it. They're not going to use it out of the package, because we don't know what they're working on. We don't know how the high frequency trader algorithms work. So they're going to want to modify it. They'll get the standard one that we give them, but they're not buying it for what we're giving it to them for. They're going to dissect it, and then now they have the ability to create, and they may even hire us to teach their staff on how to do AI integration. Does this make sense?
It does.
So,
So,
but here's what I offered the fraternity students, that
mhm.
if we end up going that route, and I'm not saying we're doing that anytime soon, because obviously we want to get good enough to where we can, you know, make sure that we can build these models, because we're sitting on about 5 or 6 models that we haven't even gotten to yet, that we've been discussing all of December. But if we can build all of these models, go back to all of the economic reports, what are the 3 areas, right? The economic reports, the quarterly earnings, and the corporate releases. High momentum trading, and then with the inverted model, I'm telling you, there's so many models. The Centroid, all of these models are viable to see if it's something that these investment firms can use. So what I offered was, I'm willing to pay every single fraternity student 10% profit, because they're going to buy this for $10,000, $50,000. It's not going to be cheap when they buy this.
Mhm.
And I think I have like 5 or 6 students at this point. So that's about $1,000 profit for each student, if they're using the 10,000 as a gauge, as a
Mhm.
as a
Gotcha.
placeholder. But I
So
just
what
want to
you're
mention
looking
it. No, go ahead.
now is basically you're looking like I think I saw the beginning part of the YouTube that you sent me. I didn't get a chance to go through it all, but
Yeah,
basically like using a company like NVIDIA as the basis, right? And then
yeah. But yeah, we can take NVIDIA as a placeholder, and well, because like I said, we have this NVIDIA model. But
Mhm.
there's no telling what direction. I even mentioned the safe haven, like having a specific one, that when we get to that part of the model,
Mhm.
where we go into the index futures, and we figure out how that's moving. And then, we showed you yesterday that when you look at all the contracts, it lets you know what the institutional positioning is. And a part of
Mhm.
that institutional positioning is that if the markets are bearish, they're going to flee to, and it's been telling us that. This is another thing that of why I even came up with this concept, is because, and I'll show you how this looks when we reiterate it. But what has the AI been doing since day one, since we've been building this? They've been telling us what markets to go to. Go to gold, go to bonds, go to oil, go to dollar. They've been telling us. They've been including some of the EFTs in their analysis. So I've been telling you guys that the stock market speaks to you. They're screaming at you to come get this money. And we've been looking at them scream at us for 6 months. And we've just been ignoring it because we've only been focused on index futures. That's the
Mhm.
reason for this expansion. Is that I'm
Okay.
noticing, like, wait a minute, the AI is telling us what to trade to go get the money.
Yeah. Well, the only thing is with I would love to get into commodities and trading oil and stuff, but I do notice that the margins are a little bit higher. So I'm like,
Oh yeah. Oh
I'll,
yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
go over there once I get this account
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
where I want
But
it to be.
but
You know
that's
what
where
I mean?
the ETFs comes in. That's
Uh-huh.
specifically why I added the ETFs. You could do the same thing, but it's going to be less of leverage and less of a broker requirement, because the ETFs can give you that same trade, but
Okay.
not. That's a perfect reason why the ETFs are involved.
So where are
You
you
don't have
guys
to.
trading your for ETFs? Like, are
Well,
you
yeah, well,
because I
and I'm
mean,
with you. I'm with you on
yeah,
this,
because
because Ninja Trader doesn't offer
I
it.
know,
That's
I
I
know,
know.
I know.
So you may have to change brokers, but that's
Uh-huh.
what that's a part of the pivot, right? Is that, if you are getting into that kind of thing, even the
Yeah.
swing trading, some brokers may have a higher fee if
Yes.
for holding something overnight. So once again, you may have to renegotiate your broker to be able to
Yeah.
kind of get into this new area of trading. But obviously, you offset that by doing the numbers on how much your broker fees are and how much profit you're going to make.
Right. And let me ask you, for ETF, um, you can trade that like a day trade, like how you would do indices the same
Yeah,
way?
yep,
Oh,
yep, yep.
okay. Okay. Huh. I can
Because
look
they're
into that.
based because keep in mind, they're based on the index futures. They're
Mm-hmm.
based on the four horsemen.
Okay.
So yeah, you can definitely.
Hmm.
Coach, I think
Well,
on Ninja Trader they might have a micro for gold. I think the ticker is GC.
They have
oh
a
yeah,
ticker for
they
what?
do have it. They
For
do all
gold, the
commodities.
micro.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
A micro for gold, the ticker
Oh
GC.
yeah. They well any of the future markets may have because they are getting started getting into those micro and e-mini outside of the index futures.
Oh yeah, they've had
So
micros for
yeah,
commodities for a
yeah,
long time, forever.
yeah.
But
Anything
the
in the
only thing
future
is
markets.
the
Yeah,
margins on it. You
I
know what I mean,
know,
Damien?
I
That's
know.
it's
But
much
once
more
again,
than the indices are. So you have to look at that.
yeah, but that's what the ETFs comes in. That's why we are targeting that. Even in our inverted model, we have
Hmm.
the ETFs. So once again, we could, like I said, it's sky's the limit when we start combining all of these models where we stack them. And then
Yeah.
now, and let me go ahead and show you that real quick. When I built this weighted model, and this is the original one, where I said to look up what is the Magnificent Seven? Where's the other one at? Well, I guess we can use this one. So let me pull up because they build something on the side over here. So see this? They build the app, and this isn't the original one. The original one
Oh.
had a field you can fill in. Let me go back and find that. It has to be a different one. Give me a second. Here it is. This is what gave me the idea.
Hmm.
They built the app.
Yep. Nice.
Wow, I'm just now seeing it. So that's
Yeah.
this own personal app from all the different models.
Well, just no, this is just Claude. When I did the original one last week, where we did the partnership with all the consumers and partners, and I put it in Claude. Claude always goes beyond because Claude has coding mechanisms in their
Yes.
algorithm. So they saw what we were trying to do, and they literally built the app. And that's why I was trying because Quintus hasn't been here, and that's why I was trying to explain to Quintus that if he can take this over and create these different these different softwares, this is what we're pitching. We're pitching the app, and keep in mind what the app is. It's the stack. It's not just the one analysis. We're going to have the app go through the stack, the echo and the lock and the rhetorical, positional, centroid, inverted. We're going to have the app go through the stack where you can just choose the models you want, or
Hmm.
just have this default sequence where if then statements. If the probability is high, or if it mentions the Dow Jones, it automatically knows to add the next stack. But this is what gave me the idea of of um of pitching this to the investment firms.
And this is all focused on the inversion strategy that you're working on, this
I
index
I ha-
futures
I haven't even
components.
implemented that yet. This is simply
Uh,
on the Nvidia.
oh, this is just NVIDIA by
This is
itself,
just
this
Nvidia. Yep.
analyze. Also, this is using the NVIDIA uh, indicator that you created
Yes, that's what
in
this
that
is.
model.
Yep.
Wow.
And they made it into an app. Now I'm trying to find the original one. The original one had a field where you would put in the the percentage of change for the Dow Jones. So I can't find it right now. I'm looking for it. Did I pin it? I might have pinned it. I did pin it. Here it is. This is the original one. See that? This is what gave me the idea. I said we can build an app. This is the original that we created. And they literally all created a percentage where you can put in the change of NVIDIA. Now, obviously, we want the AI to go out and get it themselves. But this is what gave me the idea. They built the calculations.
Wow. So, man, do you know how much you put in there versus when it came to this? And then you got this and you still kept putting other.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why. I put in the 10% and it didn't change. So I don't think it's a working like the Claude hosting, the Claude server doesn't handle the executable. So I put in a 10% change, but it didn't change anything. I don't even know why they did it. So it's not a working app, but it did give me the idea that we can build one.
And then you can adjust
You know,
the movements accordingly. So you know, okay, well, 10 is not so much of an indicator, so you can adjust it to 15 or
Yeah, whatever it is. But like I said, it's not about the working model. It's about the idea that we
Mhm.
can take the coding, we can take everything, because we also saw that, right? We saw, I think one of the actual models generated the coding. I don't know which AI it was, but we put it in one of the AIs and they literally built the code. So
and
if you can
don't
take the
forget.
coding, what?
I was gonna say, don't forget, Aaron. Like there's the one that I showed you
Mm-hmm.
separately that builds apps, and then
Yep,
also
yep.
Chat GPT. I think I put it in the room in the university room. Chat GPT has its own where you can actually build everything right
On the
inside Chat. So you
yep,
could
yep, yep.
take this same coding, put it in there, and there's things like Lovable is another one that is
Yep.
a app builder. So.
So yeah, and that's a perfect platform to test, but it's also
Hmm.
a good platform to deliver. Like we can go to the investment firms, take them to that app and show them what it looks like.
Right.
So it's even a presentation of platform that we can when we're pitching the idea. It's the same
Yeah.
thing as a mock-up that I gave Damien. We take them to
Hmm.
that platform. We don't have to go the whole route of downloading it because they're going to modify it. We're not going through that extra effort when they're just going to tear it down and reverse engineer it. So
Right.
we can leave it on that platform as a presentation and say, hey, here's what it is. And we can give them all of the mechanisms for it and then say, okay, give us 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is. And I got to find
Right.
the rate. Like I got to do some AI research on the market to make sure that we're pricing it right. But I know for a fact that they'll pay 10,000, 20,000 for it. When they're going to make millions and billions and they're going to modify to custom it to their algorithms and their high frequency trading. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a little side piece for everybody. But let me give a quick breakdown. I can do this within about 5 minutes because Ashanti and I want to make sure that Bennett gets a second chance to see what we're working on, so nobody's confused. So I'll do this very very quickly, very very quickly. So the idea, the premise of what we're working on is that we are momentum traders, right? No matter what we do, we are looking for momentum first. All right. And when I say first, I'm talking about feet on the ground, money in the markets. We're not in simulation. We're not doing analysis. Feet on the ground, money in the markets. What's the first thing that we're looking for? We're looking for momentum, that we can hide ourselves from the institutions, get in early, ride that wave up, get out of the markets before anything bad happens. That's the premise of the roadmap all the way until right now. So with that understanding that we're looking for momentum, we're looking for, and I've given you the three, we're looking for economic events, quarterly earnings, and corporate releases. Those are the three things we're looking for. All right. So, but if we're getting into, like we're just setting the economic events aside because they're wonky of all the different things going on between the administration and the Fed, everything is a little wonky right now. So we're just kind of giving that a minute to breathe, giving that a minute to reset. And now we're pivoting over to the other two sections of momentum, which is quarterly earnings and corporate releases. And everyone has already seen corporate releases because we have analyzed Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, and Nvidia. And I think even Amazon. So you guys have seen me do my secret sessions where we went over corporate releases. So we're just kind of getting back into that a little bit. So, here is what I came up with to give us that edge. Because Nvidia, let me show you this. And I probably should add it to this presentation, but let me show you this little snippet. I think I am going to bring it in right now, so I don't have to keep coming back to this in case I have to explain this again. So let's go over here. Let me get that slide. Copy, copy, copy. I can now go over here and I can add this to the bottom. Paste. And there we go. Well, let me put that first. So here's the premise. We have showed you this throughout the time that we've been explaining what we do as value hunters. We're looking for value inside the supply chain. We're looking for early entry inside the supply chain. So we showed you there's this nexus of companies. And it works all the way up to the Magnificent Seven. Everybody should understand this. This is elementary when it comes to what we learn. We know that everything starts with the Magnificent Seven and trickles down where everybody else is impacted by the Magnificent Seven. When they hire, when they fire, when they have an increase of revenue, a decrease in revenue, when they have a more, when they want to build more, build less, when their credit line goes up or goes down, when the interest rate goes up and down, all those things are going to affect Magnificent Seven supply chain, and in line with the causal sequence, with that nexus, is going to affect every other company on the stock market, because those smaller companies, the entrepreneurs, the small businesses, the corporations, they're building the nuts and bolts. They're mining the metals. They're creating the dashboards, the tires, the rear view mirror. They're building every component of that product to service the Magnificent Seven. And keep in mind, it may also be a market leader, industry leader, sector leader, but we're giving this premise with the Magnificent Seven, and then everything trickles down. So, but here's the premise of our models that we've been building all this week. Because above the Magnificent Seven, we now have NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the infrastructure of all of these companies. With their chips and their data centers, they have double value of the majority of the Magnificent Seven. So they should have a major influence when it comes to the Magnificent Seven and the stock market. Let pause and really think about that. So that means that we should be able to watch NVIDIA, and then everything trickles down this nexus. Is everybody an understanding of that?
Yes, sir.
If something good or bad happens with NVIDIA, it should trickle down and everybody else should be affected. But right now, that is not the case. Well, at least not instantly. Because if something happened with Apple, Microsoft, Google, instantly, the market is going to react. Because they've been on the stock market for 20 years, since the dot-com bubble. So they have that influence. But NVIDIA doesn't, because they're so new. So what we're doing with these models is we're creating that influence, or at least defining it where we can see it. We're creating a causal sequence that will allow us to find it. So here's the breakdown. NVIDIA is the rock. The Magnificent Seven, or a portion of them, is the shock. And then all of those Magnificent Seven are a part of the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500. So you can do a general analysis of all the index futures, which is what this is. That's what this is. This original concept was giving us an entire breakdown of all of the index futures. And I'll show it to you down here. You see this? 42%, 19%, 7%. So we did the original model on all of the index futures. But we did determine that the probability is probably going to be high on NASDAQ because most of the Magnificent Seven are tech. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah, so these numbers are movement-weighted averages.
Yes, and I'm going to get into that in a second as well. But this is the whole premise of how we deviated and came up with all these different models. Because I was like, okay, if you're giving us impact confidence of very high, you're getting us, the 82%, 38%, you're giving us all these numbers on this general analysis, if we were to dive deeper into the NASDAQ, into the Dow, into the S&P, and we found companies that are influenced by NVIDIA inside of those individual indices, we should get a higher probability. We should get a higher impact confidence grade. And that is what the rest of these models are for. And let me pull them up so everybody can see. Give me a second. I got to pull up the cloud. Because we built it yesterday, right? So, well, the AI's built it. Well, let me go ahead and get bear with me. Where are the other ones at? I'll get the rest of them, but this is one of them. This is the Dow Jones. This is the Dow NVIDIA Momentum Indicator, and I'll show it to you again. These are the companies. These are the companies on the Dow that are heavily influenced by NVIDIA. And so if we were to run this model, if we were to stack like we've been stacking, if we were to stack this Dow Jones model after we ran that original, we would get a higher probability. We're going to build the prompt where we get a higher probability of what's going to happen in the Dow Jones. So pause there. Let me go ahead and get the other two.
I actually like it. It's tighter. It's not all over the place. You got everything right there. I like that. Nice.
Fine tune it.
Our concern, it was so broad in this sector that you're doing. So focusing on NASDAQ and then those companies that actually influence is more of a supply chain causal sequence that we can depend on instead of the other ones that we got to try to figure out, okay, what part did they play in?
Well, here's what I came up with because I ran this. Remember I said that we have to replace some of the, because we have to modify some of the models. I told you that the NVIDIA model actually had NVIDIA in it. I'm sorry, the NASDAQ model. I gave it the NVIDIA in it and I shouldn't have because we want the companies to not include NVIDIA. So I had to go back and modify the list here on NASDAQ. And let me show you what I got, though, what I gave it. Let me see if I can find the prompt. Here's the prompt. Let me give you the original prompt. Generate a list of the highest market cap companies from the NASDAQ, not including NVIDIA, that are heavily influenced by NVIDIA by consumership or partnership. Include the name, cap, ticker, and weight. So here's something interesting, guys. It gave me this, but I didn't say 10. So I had to go back and give me 10. So this is what it gave me originally when I didn't give it a number. So these are the real ones that are majorly influenced. But I wanted a list of 10. And do you want to know who they added? Which is very, very interesting. They added Costco and Netflix. I would have never thought.
This is uncovering some stuff that we've never even thought about. So real insight on real supply chain levels, but we're not even paying attention to this right here. This looked like order on demand.
You got it. And that's why I say that we can sell this to the investment firms. They never even considered this, or they don't know how. And that's the other part is I already think in multiple different directions. They may hire us to come in and teach their team how to do it. They don't want the fish. They want us to teach them how to fish. And this is why I've been trying to find Quintus, because this is a part of the model that he wants. Is Quintus back? Quintus, there you are. Are you listening to all this, Quintus?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I got here a few minutes ago.
No problem. No problem. I've been looking for you for a whole week to explain this to you. That if we can build these models, we can sell them to the investment firms. And then the offshoot is they may hire us to come in and teach their team. They may be another company that want to lay off a bunch of workers. We don't need you.
Or you could just turn Credit Quest into a servicing platform that does this.
I have a section called Credit Quants. I added that whole section. It's called Credit Quants, and it's all of the different analytics, including AI, investment analysis, and AI analysis. Is all within that little branch called Credit Quant. So you are correct. I can, but Even if we didn't go that direction and we just launched it as a separate business, we could go introduce what we've been doing, show them all the work product on how to build it, show them the actual model, how it works, and then show them the outputs on the back testing. And then, like I said, if we find a nice range of pricing, they will pay us either to get it, and then they dissect it and reverse engineer it. But I'm telling you, there are going to be some companies that are going to want to hire us to teach their entire staff on how to do this.
What kind of biases would you have if like Robinhood or some of these other?
Oh no, that's on them. I don't have any a crypto company can want to hire me. I don't have any bias on that. I have a bias on the trading itself. And I'll tell you why there's a difference, because I don't know every single thing that they're going to use that for. There may be this one person on their staff that does not think like everybody else. There may be 2 or 3 people on their staff that got hired because they're trying to make money, but they may not think like everybody else. So I'm not going to determine that. My ethics doesn't go that deep where, I'm not going to offer this to you because I don't know the intricate, staff mindset and ethics. I know the culture may be that way, but that culture exists across the entire global financial system. So if that's not a determinant, the entire global financial system has that culture. And if that was the case, then I shouldn't even be trading. So I like where your head's at to see, if that's something that would impede me from moving forward. It wouldn't. Crypto companies can ask me to do it, no problem, because I don't know exactly what you're looking. And keep in mind, another reason why is I'm making sure that the model that I create has all the protections in place. If they choose to take away those protections, that's on them. But I gave them a model with all the protections. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're not concerned about a subscription. You're just selling it as a one-time transaction.
Well, the working with them would be the subscription. Coming in and working and teaching them the same way I'm doing the credit, where we work with them for several months and teach them everything. That's the Avena model. We come in and we teach them how to actually do it. If they want the upfront solution right then and there, they want to work on it on themselves, there's going to be a large portion of people with all of the coaching models. I can do it myself, no problem. And I even showed you yesterday even in my credit, I come up with services to what they want to do it on themselves, no problem. I got a course that they can do it on themselves called the Credit College. I got the Credit Concierge where they don't want to learn it. So I can make those reservations. So the subscription model paying us every month would be teaching the staff on how to implement AI. And I don't want to get too far into this. I want to stay on task, but I'm just giving you as like a little side point that this is lucrative if we can figure out how the mechanisms work. Because the AI is giving us everything we need. So I took this list and I put it back into see how I created the prompts, but I wanted to wait and show you what it looks like. So I'm going to tell NASDAQ to replace the NVIDIA. I'm going to give us this new list. We're going to run that. And I'm going to have it rebuild that calculation. I'm going to do the same thing for S&P 500s. I got to remove one of the S&P 500s. No, I got to remove 5 of them, which I think I'm just going to remove Uber. Well, no, let me do this. Let me take this 30. I need to whittle this 30 down to 25. So let's go back to AI. We can use Grok. I'll put in these 30. And I can put in that prompt. But before I get back to that, let me go ahead and finish this presentation real quick so everybody's on the same page. So here's the breakdown of what we're working on. So NVIDIA, something happens. NVIDIA goes up, NVIDIA goes down. That goes right into the Magnificent Seven, and then their price will go up or down. And then that goes right into the index futures, which I showed you that original model. Then what we can do is we can go deeper into the Dow, deeper into the NASDAQ, deeper into the S&P 500, and that's what this is. Now, with the original model, After the block of the index future, we go right into the flock, which is the rest of the market. So we're getting into the four horsemen. We're getting into options. We're getting into Forex. We're getting into ETFs, commodities. That flock is everything else. And then the final thing is the momentum of any of that. The momentum of the index futures, the momentum of the four horsemen, the momentum of the commodity markets. So this is our model. I don't have to create a lock model because that's basically what this is. So we're just going to bypass the lock and the actual model is this. NVIDIA is the catalyst. Let me give you the 4 things on the catalyst. We're looking for NVIDIA's price change, value change, quarterly earnings, or corporate release. And when we do the echo model, when we go out and find the sentiment and the expectation, it'll be on those 4 metrics. The news should be talking about it. The investments, the experts, they're going to be speculating on it. These are the 4 things that we're looking in our echo. And once again, that'll be part of the stack as it goes out and find that sentiment. So when we dive deeper in, when that original model goes into the index futures, we now have 3 different models that will go into the Dow Jones, go into the NASDAQ, and go into the S&P, doing the same thing, giving us a higher probability. Does this explain things, Ashanti? Are you still in the room? It's no problem. He may have broke away. But you're on the same page, Abena, of what we're working on?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yep.
Hello?
So I shouldn't have to explain this again. If you guys need to, I can cut this section out and then I can just try to piecework it to you. So anybody new comes in, I can show this to everybody. But this is what we're doing moving forward. We're giving the economic events a break, and we're going to dive into the other areas of momentum hunting. All right, so let's go ahead and get into modifying our models. So I just modified the NVIDIA. I'll get that in a minute. Let's go ahead and finish modifying the S&P. We got to whittle the 30 companies down to 25. And what we're doing is we want every single model to only have 5%. That's why there's 6 in the Dow, there are 25 in the NASDAQ, and then there's going to be, there are 10 with the NASDAQ, and there's going to be 25 with the S&P. We want 5% of all of their members. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that.
5% of all members from, say that again?
We want 5% of all of the companies. So if there are 30 companies in Dow, we want 5%, which would be 6. If there are 200 companies in NASDAQ, 5% would be 10. And if there are 500 companies in the S&P, 5% would be 25. Do I got to do it again?
No, I see your strategy.
Okay, perfect. So 5% across the board for every single index future. So let's go ahead and build a prompt for this. I gave it the 10. I gave it the 30. We got to whittle it down to 25. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to take the prompt for the NASDAQ. And you know what? I think that's the best way to go because it may change some of these companies. So let's get rid of this 30. It may give me a whole new set. So generate a market cap for S&P, not including NASDAQ, that are heavily influenced by NVIDIA through consumership and partnership, include the name, cap, ticker, and weight. So we'll run this and we'll compare that list, but I want 25. Give me a second. Give me a list of 25. Give me a list of 25 of the highest market cap companies from the S&P 500. So we're going to run this 25 and compare it to the 30. Make sure. So let's run this real quick. And then I'll add this to the S&P model. And I think the NVIDIA is done, right? So we got the NVIDIA. I think I copied that. So while that's running, let's come back over here to this. Well, no. This this is that. So I think I took that back in. Let's go ahead and get this. Our top 10 for NVIDIA. We're going to copy this. We're going to go back over to our NVIDIA model, which is here, NVIDIA, no, NASDAQ model. We can now add this here, and I'm going to tell it to regenerate the come on now. Regenerate the model, or the what is this? The NVIDIA net MI. Regenerate the NMMI model using this new set of companies. And I'm actually going to tell the AI how the list was comprised. So give me a second. I wanted to know all the details. This is a top 10. This list is a top 10 NASDAQ companies, including NVIDIA, with the highest market cap. So it knows exactly what the set of companies are. It has all the metrics needed, even the explanation of why they're tied to NVIDIA. So we're going to run this, and we should get a new NVIDIA model. Let that run. We're now going to go back and see how it did for the S&P 500. We got 25. Now, here's a side point, which we haven't done yet, but we know how this works. We've been doing this for 6 months, right? 5 or 6 months we've been doing this. So we may come up with different versions. Let me give you one of the versions of this, because these companies are weighted. We specifically had it weighted. It's weighted 2 different ways. It's weighted for their weight on the actual index, but it's also weighted for their market cap on the whole market. What is their total market cap? So we added that as a feature where they're doing the market cap weight on the whole stock market. But I may add a third weight. I may add a third weight, because keep in mind, there should be another weight on their influence, on their consumership, on their partnership. There should be another weight for their connection to NVIDIA. Because that's really what this is all about. NVIDIA moves, and then the Magnificent Seven moves. And that connection between that correlation between NVIDIA and another company, that's going to be based on how much connection they have. So that should be the most important weight, is NVIDIA's influence on that company. Does that make sense? And we can go back in and ask the AI, does this model factor in the influence of NVIDIA? If it doesn't, we can kind of generate a little extra model that incorporates that into it. But that's not what we're working on right now. We just want a working model, and then we can go back and modify if we need. But these are the 25. I'm going to go ahead and copy this out. Beautiful, beautiful. I can now copy that into. We'll come back to this in a second. Let me go ahead and get Let me go ahead and get, and I'm going to change the name of this so I can see the difference. This is the S&P. Let me rename this. SP 500. I want that first. That way I can clearly see the difference. Beautiful. Now we got the Dow, the NASDAQ, S&P. So let's go with the S&P 500. Let's go ahead and put that in here. I can put this in. No. This is a list. So we got that part, but we got to give it the instructions. So let's go back to NASDAQ and get that off the prompts. Generate using the new set of companies. That's it. And this is the I think I'm gonna call this one SP. And it should know what I'm doing when I name it. Regenerate the SPN MI model. Should I do S or should I do SPM? Which one should I do? Should I just do S or do SP?
What other S are there? You're just talking about Standard & Poor's, right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but I'm naming the model. In this particular model, it didn't name it. It named the Dow Jones, that DNMI. It named the NASDAQ, the NNMI, but it did not name the S&P 500. So I'm trying to give it a name.
Oh, got it.
So do I want just SNMI or SPNMI?
I'm okay with SP.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it
Yeah.
tells you that it's, the S&P.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Make sure we got it. So this one, name ticker. Put some commas in here so we can tell the difference. Rank. Yeah. All right. So yeah, now we got the prompt. We're gonna regenerate it with the new set of companies. Top 10, 25. Once again, 5%. Of the S&P listed, SP 500 listed companies. I got to go back and find all the instances of NVIDIA. I'm sorry, of NASDAQ. I think that's it. Regenerate NVIDIA, highest market cap, S&P, not including NVIDIA, heavily influenced by NVIDIA. Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's run this. Let's hopefully AI can decipher what's going on. So we'll let that run. And I'm actually going to hold and let it finish, and then we'll get back on the video. Now, just to let you know, some of the people that weren't here, we added 2 features to the original thing. Well, let me qualify. We ran the Dow first, right? Well, no. We ran the NASDAQ first. Let me take that back. We ran the NASDAQ model first. We built that one first because that's going to be the one we're probably going to use the most. So we ran the NASDAQ first, and then I ran the Dow. And then while the Dow was running, I went back to the NASDAQ, and it gave me that suggestion about adding the contract sensitivity, which we went over that yesterday. But something that I noticed, and even before looking at the Dow, I came up with an idea. Wait a minute, the market cap should have a weight. If they're in that Magnificent Seven, they should have more influence because of that trickle-down effect. So I said, well, we need to add some kind of a weight for market cap. And then I went back over to Dow. In the same platform, we're building all of these on ChatGPT. So all I did was click over to the next model on Dow, and guess what? When they ran the Dow, they included the market cap when they didn't do it on NASDAQ. In the same AI. So I had to go back to NASDAQ. I had to add that contract sensitivity and the market cap weight. And then when we built the S&P 500, we did the same thing. And that contract sensitivity is just another way to make money, which I explained that to you guys yesterday as well. So let's look back at our NVIDIA. Let's see how this affected everything. All right, so this version reframes the model from NVIDIA is a composite of the index to NVIDIA is an upstream capital allocator whose signal propagates through GPU consumers and ecosystem partners. This distinction matters, and this model captures it. Okay. The universal definition, let the influence leaders set by Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta. AVGO. Does anybody know what AVGO is?
No, but we're gonna look it up.
Yes, we are.
That's Broadcom, I think.
Broadcom. Got it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know their ticker. Thank you for that, though. Thank you for adding. I did not know that. Okay, so what else we got? Tesla, Oracle, Costco, and Netflix. I was not expecting these two. These two threw me. Like, what?
They must be big players in the game,
at least in the cloud technology.
Yeah.
And that's what this is because of the chips and the cloud. Like especially Costco.
Costco, I know. I'm looking at that. I'm like, wow, I want to do a deep dive now on Costco.
Yeah. Now I believe the Netflix, because if you remember during the pandemic when the Netflix jumped, they created a whole separate group of tech companies with Netflix. And there was an acronym for it. Does anybody remember what the acronym was for when the Netflix was included?
Oh, you mean included into the Mag 7-ish kind of?
Well, it wasn't called the Mag 7. It was a whole different set of investment companies.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And Netflix was in it. Does anybody know what that group was? I can go look it up.
Yeah, what was it? It was on the tip of my tongue.
Group of investment.
Fang.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. So that's why Netflix is not unbelievable, because they had the Fang, which was Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google.
Apple. It was Facebook.
Apple. You're right. It was Apple. So that was the original Fang. So Netflix coming into this is not unbelievable. Especially when you're dealing with a NASDAQ, because that's where the Fang was most used, inside the NASDAQ. Any comments? All right, so two-tier weighting, and I told you about this. And remember I said that, yeah, they have it built in. That's what I want to make sure. They have the NVIDIA dependency built in. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure they had that. But the market cap is first, and then the NVIDIA dependence is secondary. That was essential for this thing to work. A simple market cap weight is not sufficient. We introduced a NVIDIA influence multiplier. And here's the influence multiplier. Microsoft is at the top of the list. Now, guys, has anybody heard the news? And I love when my predictions come true. What did I tell you last year? I said, because we are in the 5th industrial revolution, you're going to see a lot of the Magnificent Seven climb out of the $3 trillion area. Does anybody know who the new company is that is now $4 trillion?
Apple.
It's Google.
Google, for sure. Yeah.
Google.
Yesterday.
It was just announced that Google just came over $4 trillion. And here's the interesting part, which we understand this when we were analyzing it in 2024. I just to let you guys know, moving forward, I'm probably never going to reference 2025. Anything I reference when it comes to the stock market, I want to believe that 2025 never existed. So we can go back to 2024 when there was that war, that AI war going on between Apple and Microsoft, where they kept taking over each other. And then even NVIDIA would take them over. And then Apple and Microsoft, there was this whole battle of getting over the $3 trillion. They were battling over that $3 trillion area. But there was this huge battle between Microsoft and Apple, and they would fluctuate above it and below it, which lets you know that it was not locked. It was not, I wouldn't say it wasn't real, but they didn't have enough infrastructure to lock it in. If you're going to fluctuate above and below. And that's why I'm also letting you know that Microsoft and Microsoft and Apple are not at 4 trillion anymore. I believe they've come down under the 4 trillion again. And you're probably going to see that. That's just what those two companies do. They fluctuate back and forth because a lot of their mechanisms are not in-house. Apple tries to make people believe, oh, we got everything in-house. No, they don't. Because the reason why Google jumped, why did Google jump? If you guys know that Google jumped to 4 trillion, why did they jump? What's the catalyst of why Google's value went up? Anybody know? No problem. I'll tell you. They made a deal with Apple. Remember, Apple, I told you this also in 2024, that Apple did not show up to that round of funding for OpenAI. Everybody else did. Apple did not show up to that round of funding for OpenAI. And it was the largest round of funding in history. But Apple had already announced that they were using OpenAI for their AI at their tech conference. And then 3 months later, you know, when OpenAI has their round of funding, Apple is absent. And I knew right then that Apple was not going to commit, and they were looking for another company to do their AI. And it took them a whole year. And they finally, especially after Google made those announcements and those upgrades at their tech conference last year, Apple decided to use Google, which is weird because they're the competition. Think about it, guys. You're talking about, this is why it didn't make sense, because Apple and Android are in direct competition. But for whatever reason, Apple has decided to use Gemini as their AI. Doesn't that sound counterproductive?
So they hate Android that much that they went and used somebody else of lesser grade, is what you're saying?
Well, no, just the opposite. because here's the optics, and this proves to you that Apple is a cult. I'm going to prove to you that Apple's a cult, because if you get an Apple phone and it has Gemini on it, why don't you just go buy an Android? Crickets?
Oh my God.
Why don't you just go buy an Android?
The Apple hate is so strong, man. I can feel it. I can feel it.
This is not hate. This is basic economics. Why don't you just go buy an Android phone?
Oh my gosh. Nah.
No?
No, because
It's
you know what?
cheaper.
You know what? Why?
Go
though,
ahead.
Aaron?
Go ahead. See,
No.
the cult member speaks up. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I'm not a cult member. I'm not a cult member. No, it's the same thing as, remember when you were talking about what is it, Tesla, and that whole platform, is that he was trying to start a platform truly. If you're an Apple user, you're used to the Apple platform, literally. So you just don't want to have to be like, oh my God, now I got to learn how Android works and the features and all that. It's just the convenience. Honestly, it's the
you're right. Everything
Exactly.
you said is 100% correct, and I'm going to confirm it for you, because I don't want you to think I'm an Apple hater. No.
No,
Here's the
Aaron,
breakdown.
I'm just joking.
I know, but here's the breakdown of why what everything you say is 100% true, and it shows how Apple has positioned themselves. Why a lot of those people can't leave Apple, because you get into the commercial side.
Yeah.
Because if you go into medical and science and engineering and all these different things, they have apps that you can download on the commercial side that will turn your Apple a device into a heart monitor. It'll turn your Apple device into a seismic reader, and then it literally, you download the app, and it literally there's a secondary plugin that goes into the bottom of the Apple, and then and then that's the reader. So let me say like a thermometer. If you're doing a medical readout and you want to do, and I'm using the most basic app. If you want to create a thermometer, you would plug the thermometer into the Apple device. You would use the thermometer, and then the Apple software would read the thermometer information. Sure. Does that make sense?
It does, definitely. Yeah.
I know it makes sense to you because you use it, but I'm trying to tell everybody else.
I don't use that thing, but
Oh yeah. So, but that's the idea, is that they make the Apple device and software so dependent on government contracts. That's the reason why Apple is locked in, where people don't want to go anywhere, because they sell their Apple in bulk. They sell their devices in bulk. They sell the apps in bulk to the governments and the corporations.
Yes.
So
and
I
also,
understand.
I think also why, when you're talking about bulk and stuff, many like digital startups, any kind of startup companies, they're able to get those devices. Like, it's common, my last startup, I had an Apple, computer, laptop. You had your choice. You could use, most of the engineers used, the Windows version, or you could choose Apple. You know what I mean? And you had people that were coexisting in the same company using different, systems, and they were happy with that. But I think it is because they offer those things in bulk, and it's easy to do that. And a lot of those people, not the technical folks, they're more on the Windows side, but everybody else, they usually go to the Apple side. They're like, hey, or they're willing to give it a try, using it.
But that also goes back to what I teach you guys when it comes to building your business. Apple has built an ecosystem where they can't leave. So but on the other side of that, and let me kind of double down.
They strongly don't want to. Because I'm a person that uses both. Like, I can flip and be versatile, but it's an extra hassle that I just don't want to have. Right? I'm just lazy in that way.
Yeah, that's a part of the cult. Because Android is a phone that does 100 times more things for a cheaper price. So let me double down on the cult aspect. Let me double down on the cult aspect. So anybody that's willing to go to the Apple store to buy a sock,
I saw this.
Anybody that would go to the Apple store with a line around the block, so you can get a sock that was probably made for 10 cents, and you're buying it for $20.
This was horrible. It's so ugly, y'all. Don't you think?
Self on being like the shopaholic for shopaholics. That's why.
Yeah, they're just buying it because it's a new product by Apple. But
Yeah,
it just shows you how much Apple has those people locked in. And that's
Uh-huh.
why I use the word cult. Those people aren't going anywhere. So
Wow.
on the commercial, so on the consumer side, yeah, it is a cult because there's nothing locking them in.
Right. Except themselves in the way that they're thinking.
Exactly. They can leave
Yeah.
anytime they want.
Yes.
Go and like I said, when you start seeing Apple start to integrate some of these third tier or third party apps, especially when you can get it on Android for cheaper price, then it should be a no brainer. Your cultism should unlock and then go over to Android.
I don't know about
But they
that.
have them so locked
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
and this is the moment that you knew. And look, they're making a little scarf, making out a little scarf. Come on now. It costs 10 cents. And
Now
then
the scarf is funny.
and then here's the thing that I just found out recently. I don't know if I looked it up. I don't know if we looked it up in the class. I don't know if it was in my video. But do you guys know how much it costs to make an iPhone in China? It's gonna blow your mind. Any number you give me, unless you know the answer, you're not gonna ever get it. Does anybody have any idea roughly how much it costs to make an iPhone in China? This is gonna show you their profit levels. Somebody give me a number. Come on, somebody got the courage. How much does it cost to make an iPhone at cost?
I think I'm at least $15.
You're close. It's about 30. It's double that. $30. And how
Wow.
much are they selling it for? 1,200, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500. $10,000
and
markup.
the 30 is what they spend on labor, from what I'm seeing.
Yep, $30. So it shows you. And keep in mind, guys, from a business aspect of it, it's exactly kind of what I'm talking to try and teach you guys to do. Create the ecosystem. And you will eat and eat and eat. You will never run out of business. You will catapult into the levels that all these Magnificent Seven are doing. Because all of them are building ecosystems. So it's a teachable moment when it comes to what we're teaching you in business. But there's also the level of ethics. Like you're literally trying to charge something that costs you 10 cents to make and you're charging them $20. But they're leveraging their cultism. And if you don't think McDonald's is cult, if you don't think Coca-Cola's cult, they have a cult following. And I can prove to you the Coca-Cola because back in the 90s, they had the taste test. And it was proven that Pepsi tastes better. And they stayed with Coke. Cultism. Even after realizing that Pepsi tastes better. You guys remember all those commercials, right? Where they would reveal. And that same person that realized that they like Pepsi better went back and they still bought Coke. Cultism. Welcome to the psychology of sales. So on one side, I'm praising Apple that they built something like that. But on the other side, when you look at it from the consumer side, and then now Gemini is the default AI, somebody should disconnect and say, wait a minute, I can buy a phone for half the price and then go over to Android. And I'm telling you, I can show you video after video after video on TikTok of people that have went over to Android and they realize they've been bamboozled.
That's so true.
You telling me that I've
That
been
is
missing
so
all of these
true.
different features? Yeah, you've been missing all those different features.
Well, they had commercials like that where in the past that they were like, I'm going over here, or like they would show somebody who was basically they're depicting like an Apple user, and then now, there was one I remember with like showing the long line and how, silly it was when they were able to get like so much more, I guess, with by using the Gemini phone or one of the Android type phones. But
I'm trying to find the influencer that just switched over. She's a female. She's from Britain. I'm gonna put it in British. And she her favorite thing is Cool Ranch dressing. She puts it on everything. Let me put in Cool Ranch. She should pop up. Yeah, here she is. She just switched over. Has anybody ever seen this girl?
No.
Oh, she's absolutely awesome. But she loves her Cool Ranch dressing. She literally, and she comes over here, and she loves everything about America. But yeah, she did a video about 3 or 4 months ago where she switched over to Android, and she liked it so much she made a video about it. I cannot believe, and I can show you dozens of people that realize, oh my goodness, I've been bamboozled. But anyway, so yeah, we were talking about Google coming over the 4 trillion. So I believe, and I don't know exactly where they sit, I believe that it's NVIDIA at 5, Google's at 4. I believe Microsoft was ahead of Apple. And I guess I can go look it up, but I think, let me confirm. Did Microsoft and Apple fall below 4 trillion? Recently? Yes, Microsoft and Apple recently fell below the $4 trillion cap threshold after being crossed after having crossed it previously. As of January 13th, it's Apple first. Apple has a higher. So it's NVIDIA at 5, Google at 4, Apple at 3.8, and Microsoft at 3.5. But once again, this is not unusual because they've always been battling back and forth ever since 2024. And I fear that they will be forever tied together until they can come out with their own technology instead of piggybacking off of NVIDIA. And that's the reason why. No, go ahead.
That's what it looks like when you did that report last week. 99% was OEM. Apple was the only one that wasn't. So I was going to have to constantly be the frog jumping from lily pad to lily pad just to stay relevant. Eventually, it's going to catch up to them. Somebody's going to buy them out and dismantle them. I can't see that not happening.
Buy who out?
I don't know, but if they just an OEM, won't they eventually? What would be their possible downfall? I mean, because Apple? If everybody's on OEM, yeah, I know it seems weird, but my knowledge line seems like it.
Okay, I'll give you the one, and we already see it. We already see it in play. I can tell you. I can tell you the 2 things that will be the downfall of Apple, and we already see one of them in play, which is what I was about to explain. So let me finish this commentary, and I'm telling you, it's going to answer your question. So if we see Apple and Microsoft fluctuating back and forth above the 4 trillion, we see the difference now of why Google came over, because they're not dependent on anybody. And I told you, Google was so far behind when we analyzed them in 2024. But when they had that tech conference last week and they launched all those new products, launched all that new tech, that is the reason why they are now above everybody. They're not dependent on anybody else. That's why NVIDIA and Google are above the 4 trillion. And they're going to stay above the 4 trillion because they're not dependent on anyone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is.
So here is the answer to your question. We talked about that cultism. If Google, with their new line of technology, if they start to mimic Apple and create their own version of cultism, that's going to be the downfall of Apple. people are going to realize, even on the commercial side, even on the contract side, people are going to realize that I can get a better deal, better technology, faster, more reliable, all of that with Google. So if people start jumping ship from Apple going over to Google with their new set of the new suite of technology, that's going to be the downfall of Apple, because Apple cannot sustain because they're relying on everybody else. Now, they tried to fix it with their Apple chip. They thought they fixed the problem with NVIDIA, but now they got a whole new set of problems with Google. And then you're using the Google AI? You're cutting your own throat by using your competitor's AI. And that just means that there was an issue with the OpenAI. There was an issue with the Anthropic. Why did they? I thought sure they were going to choose Anthropic and use Claude. But for whatever reason, they still, and I'll tell you what it was, they knew that Claude could not compare with Gemini. And they wanted the best of the best. They didn't want an inferior product. So that's where they are right now. And because of that small little detail, because it's small now, it appears like a small thing now, but that's going to grow into a huge tree. That's going to give Google a major competitive edge. So I will say that much. And then I've also said this, pay attention. I gave you this prediction over 2 years ago as well, when we did the initial analysis on NVIDIA. What did I tell you? I said, you're going to see NVIDIA come up with a product that's going to compete with every single other Magnificent Seven. Who remembers that?
I believe I do.
And I showed you, I did it in a secret session. I showed you that they're competing with Tesla, they're competing with the robots.
You said it during a secret session. Yeah, it does make sense. I kept seeing, especially when Jensen and Elon were on stage, and I'm like, why did this dance when these guys seem like they're slapping each other on the backs and they're best buds always comes across as full of BS, because it's the whole analogy of keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
And they hug and grab and kiss, and they love their enemies, man.
Yep.
And I that's sense about them going at it, because if you can't be a shark in these waters, you're going to end up getting taken advantage of. That's why I see Apple, is more of a victim than a predator.
Yeah, but it goes back to the CES conference, right? What was one of the features that NVIDIA released? The self-driving clear, directly competing with Tesla. I'm telling you, they're gonna come up with a product for every single one of the Magnificent Seven, and even their infrastructure is competing with Broadcom. They're competing with every single one of the Magnificent Seven.
That's right, Coach. Now that I think about it, you said 2 or 3 years ago, neuro. We're going to go from digital to neuro with self-driving cars, and they came with that. So that's what that is. Now it makes sense too.
So if you consider that prediction that I made, that NVIDIA is going to come up with a product that's going to compete with every single one of the other Magnificent Seven, I also mentioned that it's possible for them to come up with their own phone. Pause for effect. Because if you don't think they're going to come up with their own car, come on now. They got the come on now. And I'll tell you, and I'm going to tell you because you've seen it so many times over the 3 or 4 years we've been doing this. What does Amazon do? Amazon just buys up competition. What did they do with Whole Foods? They buy the infrastructure. So if they want to come up with a car company, all they got to do is go out to one of these car companies that's failing and buy the infrastructure for a car company.
That explains,
and then put their software inside of it.
That explains why, when you said ecosystem, that explains why Elon is taking Tesla, SpaceX, and AIX all together to make a complete universe that everybody's going to have to.
There you go.
there are levels of ecosystem. You want to make an ecosystem, I'm gonna make a universe. And he's the first one out there in orbit, that's willing to risk all that flying debris.
And now let me also give you this. This is another reason why Meta is going to fail first, guys. Let me tell you another prediction. Meta is going to fail out of every other one of the Magnificent Seven. Meta is going to fail first because and you just gave the reason, because Meta's building a metaverse which isn't real. All of the other Magnificent Seven is building a physical, tangible, valuable ecosystem. Meta's not. That's the difference.
I called him out. He hasn't been legitimate since.
No. He's trying to create a virtual world, but it's not enough. You need something tangible that people will come and live, not visit. And that's what the virtual world is. You can only come visit it. And remember, I told you guys that even with why I'm transitioning over to the credit, because I need something sustainable that will weather a down market. I need it to be recession proof. Meta is not a recession proof when you're talking about metaverse, because you got to have extra money to buy the visor. And the visor's $300, $500. You got to have disposable income for that. So how do you build an ecosystem where you are a staple? And Meta is not that. Meta is going to be pitched to the ultra wealthy, and that's not sustainable. At least not enough to come into the 4 trillion, 5 trillion and meet everybody else. Meta will stall out, or they're gonna drop. Because they don't have the tangible value. Go ahead.
You got companies like even Rivian trying to make their own trip. So everybody's trying to do these ecosystem and scale. Or I think it becomes, and I've seen reports about that. They're trying to create these ecosystems, and Elon's got the biggest one. So everyone's trying to do it in scale. So that makes sense when I hear smaller operations like Rivian and the rest of them are trying to create stuff and keep it in-house versus having to outsource it. So yeah, especially the major components.
Yep. He announced that metaverse. What has it been 10 years? I know we're coming up close to it when he first announced that, when he changed his name to Meta. And everybody thought that it was going to happen in a couple of years. We're now almost 10 years later, if we're not already there, and he still doesn't have a metaverse.
What I found useful, Coach, with your analysis is that each one of them is pulling up Salesforce. So in order to systems, you need a Salesforce partnership that's in every industry that's going to utilize this. So they've got their own labor indicator partner.
Yes.
They don't need an ADP. They don't need BLS.
Thank you.
Because when these automations and robots and production numbers come with less human heads, they're going to be the first to know. I'm connected dots. I see it.
And now I'm going to bring it full circle. I'm going to keep coming back to this and why we're doing this. I told you the original reason for this Steady Profit University is for us to learn how to use AI analysis for our own AI. But I told you since day one that I'm also teaching you how to become, remember the term that I gave it, the Geppetto? I'm teaching all of you to become Geppettos. And if some of you, if you don't remember what that is, ChatGPT, the GPT in ChatGPT, it spells Geppetto. And that's a term that I came up for any AI engineer. I'm teaching you guys to become Geppettos because most of the people out there don't know how this works. They think they can just go ask AI and the answer that they got is correct. But I also showed you that's not correct. You can walk the AI through. They're going to go pull bogus information from Reddit and Twitter. That's not correct. They're not going to tell you you're wrong. No matter what you give it, it's not going to tell you you're wrong. So a lot of people are going to AI, they spit out an answer, and this has to be true because the AI gave it to me. But we know better. So we can literally go and teach people. That is the second thing that I told you about the Steady Profit University. You can go out and teach what we're learning and make 6 figures minimum. So let me give you this. with what we're building, and if we do this correctly and we get really good at this,
incoming transmission,
we can take Salesforce out of business. We can bypass Salesforce. And I'll tell you why, because the analysis that we're doing, we have proven that the Salesforce numbers are not accurate.
Man, it's a good thing you ain't on TikTok anymore.
Shut me down. We can literally cut Salesforce off at the knees because their data is not real. When I found out that they doctored the economic reports, we want feet on the ground. And I've even shown some of my business students on how to use social media directly from the source. Go into the comments section. You know, you can do different things to get the real data directly from the source. Salesforce is first off, is not accurate, and it's lagging. That information is 3 months later. We want to the moment. We want to be able to run an analysis at the moment and get the real data. And if we can come up with a model and build the stack and turn it into a software, once again, Salesforce is out of business. We can give it the parameters to look for echoes within the information to find out what's fake. Salesforce doesn't do any of this. Did a light bulb just go off? We can qualify the data at the moment, live, real-time data, taking out all of the noise. Salesforce becomes obsolete overnight. You're learning that in this class, literally. Billion-dollar ideas.
incoming transmit,
You on the same page?
We can take this and strategize all of this into a PR campaign where we're making contact verbally, and then we've taken those interested people and we're putting them into a system where they're going through this like intestinal system where everything is benefiting them and benefiting the body at the same time.
Yep.
We need to find a way, and I'll talk to you after this, how we can do a PR campaign, because that's really what we're missing. We need to be able to do this stuff accordingly, all of this stuff, because that's the biggest challenge. It's like having all of this mass amount of data and information and trying to go through this tiny hole to get it to people. So it's like real tiny drip.
Let me do this. Let's take 5 minutes. We're going to pause the presentation and let me take 5 minutes to show you the real power of what we're building here, because this is how my mind works. I don't tell you this stuff, everybody, and believe me, when I do this kind of stuff, guys, when people aren't on this level, they think I'm crazy. Believe me, I've gotten it. Man, way your mind works, you got to be off, which I might be on the spectrum. I'm not saying I'm not, but it's just the way that my mind works. So let me give you something. I'm gonna give you some ideas on just how my brain works when it comes to business. I told you I love business way more than the stock market, but I can connect the dots. So check this out. And I told you about creating a social media platform, right? And right now there's a vacuum right now when it comes to social media. Nobody wants to go to Facebook, especially the new generation. Facebook is tainted, it's archaic. None of that works. And then now we have the TikTok, which was really good, and now they didn't brought that into the, let me use the right word, into the cabal. They've added the TikTok to the skulls. So there's a vacuum right now when it comes to social media. So I already told you the first thing, that if we were to build a social media platform, the very first thing that I want safety. You know, the bullying, you know, the teasing, the online, all of that stuff. Even and I, you know, I don't have to use the racism, all that, because it's all combined. But it's really a lot of bullying online. People are committing suicide and all this other kind of stuff. I've seen 3 social media last year. I think about 3 or 4 social media influencers committed suicide because of the online bullying. 2 of them were cosplayers and they were Black. and they were getting so much hate because they were playing these quote unquote white characters when we know Japanese characters are Japanese. But the white people are bullying them so much for being black cosplayers that like 4 people committed suicide. 2 of them were cosplayers. So that's the first thing. If I do a social media platform, I am cutting people off from any of the name calling and the racism and the bullying. And I'm not even going to second guess it. Cut it off. You can actually appeal it, but I'm going to cut it off first, and then I'll have somebody come in and do a. But the algorithm, if you say anything bad, cut off the video or the person. I'll put you on the same way TikTok does. I'll put you on a 3-day, and keep in mind, guys, it's not just going to be immediate. I told you, even with me, 3 people got to report you. So if somebody's looking through the comments and there's a bullying or a name call or something like that, if 3 people report it, you're blocked for a certain period of days from a whatever it is. I can do all those things, but that's the number one thing for the social media protection, to kind of stop that kind of stuff happening. And then once again, it's also going to protect you from fake information that's not real. But here's where it really gets interesting, because I want to create genuine engagement. So I remember, and maybe you guys remember when TikTok first started. When I first came into TikTok, everybody was generating followers. You got people, when they first got on TikTok, man, they would have 10,000 followers in a month. Does anybody remember this during the pandemic? If you had anything interesting, you got a lot of followers.
When it first came out and it was uncensored, I met it. The first time I heard about it was through a relative of mine with, one of those questionable backgrounds and such. And every person really on the streets, air quotes, were using it. And it was more of a social media because it wasn't held in at least for my, when I was learning about it, it wasn't held up into a highest a level of because you still had Facebook and all that other stuff.
And it was still considered a kids app, coming off of the whatever the music thing was, the dance, because it was dance music and music and stuff. And that's the reason for the name TikTok. It even has the music symbol. It has a music symbol so it was a music and dance app, and it became the adults came in, or the kids grew up to become adults, and it's not that anymore. But I remember when it first started, that people were able to get followers very quickly if you had really good content. So I want to put that back in. I will reward your engagement. If I see you commenting in your comment section, if I see you engaging with your group of followers, I'm going to reward you. So that's the first thing: engagement. And that's going to come full circle because we're building something. We're building something, which I'm going to explain. The next thing that I want is, and it's always been something that I thought about when it came to even my lives. So when you build up that following, I want to offer a secondary service, subscription. Even if it's subscription or just an upcharge, I want to create a secondary option where you can pay the platform to access your influencer group. So if you want to send out a mass a DM, if you wanted to pay that every single, because if you post a video, you want every single person in your group to get it, right? And that doesn't exist on any social media platform. They cannot guarantee that every person following you is going to get your video. But it's the equivalent of doing a bulk email or a bulk text. But the reason why it's allowed, at least from my ethics, is because they signed up for it when they followed you. When they started following you, that was their opt-in, that they're going to get your video. And now, if you want to promote a product, if you want to promote a service, you can create a video and then click, and then inside the options, you can click, do a mass send out to all of my influencers. They may charge you, there may be an upcharge for it, but that feature needs to be there. Does that make sense? No other social media platform offers that.
Wait,
You
say
know
it
how much
again.
money you can make with that feature?
Aaron, could you say that again? You would send a video to all your what?
All your followers.
Oh, your followers.
And it makes sure every single one of them gets it, either in their feed or in their DMs.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you want to send a DM to all of your followers, and the whole premise is, they opted in for that when they followed you. Now, keep in mind there will be service, terms of service that if anybody is using that for spamming, their account is deleted. You gotta have something that fits the categories. It fits it can't just be an advertisement. It has to be a legitimate video, and the four areas, the real. It has to relax, it has to entertain, it has to be acceptance, it has to be learning. It has to fit something where it's legitimate content. It cannot just be an ad. Now, you can advertise within the video as you are fulfilling, those areas of the social media, but you just can't send out an ad. If you're spamming people on ads, either DM or video, you're going to get flagged for spamming. But if you have a legitimate video that's fitting those criteria, you can send out, check on it. The AI can figure out if it's an ad or not. And then, like I said, you can either send the video out on the feed, you can send it where it'll go to their DMs where they can click on it, or you can actually send a DM, a textual DM also. But there's going to be an upcharge on those inside the app. And once again, there's a reason for that, because it's all about engagement. That's the key word of this whole thing. Being able to engage with your followers on a personal level. So now, if we put all those mechanisms in place, right? Protecting everybody, making sure the information is correct, no false or fake information. Because if you have AI built into this, AI is going to check that video. And when you try to submit that video, the AI will say, we just checked, and this does not match our understanding of what is true. Either prove to us, post some kind of a medical journal or an article that proves that what you're trying to post is true. Does this make sense to you guys? You got to post some kind of citation if it's flagged as being fake information. The AI is going to flag it if it's not real. And there's a purpose to this. So let me show you, put all these different mechanisms, real information. You're able to advertise and sell. You're able to engage directly with your consumers, all of that. Do you want to know what now happens? Now, all of that marketing information, every single demographic is legitimate. Every number. We're creating a sales force with our social media platform. And it's real, tangible information. Nothing fake. And now we can, just like Facebook does, we can download that data and we can sell it to other companies. Especially if we download it into the real-time AI model that I told you. Because isn't that what we're doing? Remember we took the AI and we had to go out to Reddit, we had to go out to Twitter, we had to go out to all the social media and pull the information. We would do the same thing in our AI model. Go to our new social media app, pull the data from there. We know it's legitimate. We made sure that the platform is checking all the boxes to make sure everything is correct. So now when our AI runs that model live real time, did I just shut Facebook down? Did I just shut Salesforce down? And the people on the app is going to make a lot more money with that engagement. By having legitimate content, no fake, like even with this whole TikTok shops. I told you that they're just pitching heat, and somebody's gonna get hurt. I showed you a video last year where somebody said mix Clorox and ammonia. What? There was literally somebody that told somebody to do that. Toxic chemical. Those are kind of things that will get flagged. And we're definitely not doing some kind of a shop. But if you want to pitch your service or your product, it has to pass different types of tests to make sure that it's legitimate, that it's not going to hurt anybody. Safety is always going to be first. But if we have all of that data coming in, we checked all the boxes to filter it down to being legitimate data. We can now pull that into our AI model, run the real time. And that's the key to that AI model. We don't want 3 months down the line. You can go and pull that, but if you want real-time data as you speak, and that's where the engagement comes in. If we're forcing these influencers to engage with their group, that's what makes it real time. You know, at any given moment, people are engaging with their group, and every influencer is doing it, which qualifies the data. You want to know what they're thinking, feeling? That's the engagement. All of those comments, all of that dialogue, you get real-time data on what they're thinking, feeling, and doing. Planning trips, building a house. Does this make sense? You get real-time data on what they're doing because of the engagement. Somebody say something and don't make me think I'm not crazy.
Coach, you piling so much on. I'm like, man, if I was a advertiser back in the days, I'm like, where do I begin? How do I get to us? I mean, it would be easier when we had print. That was easy. Now it's I mean, you're walking on eggshells before you can get it to your targeted audience. And that's with everything we're doing, Coach. Really, because we got great ideas, but at the end of the day, we're still, you know, Marty McFly with the DeLorean it's still in the garage and it's still got the tarp on it. We got to get it out of the garage. We got to get it in front of people. Car shows. We gotta have people talking until they're talking about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. They need to be like, you know, I heard this and blah blah blah, and they share it. That is powerful when somebody's called you. And I know you've experienced and others experienced. Somebody referred me to you, and you know I wanted to use your services. You got a minute to talk? You know, that's powerful.
Yep.
That little bit right there leads you into the subscriptions, the followings, and sharing. When they have it on their lips, once they find the value, once they talk about it, and you've made that sale over the phone, and they know there's value, they're going to be back in touch with you, especially when you exchange phone numbers and emails. That little bit right there is what's going to build those clicks and those comments and those shares. And, you know, because, again, a lot of these companies that are out there, unless you got a Elon Musk or a Jensen Wang or some type of big name notoriety, no one's going to touch it because it's got to be recognizable. Because so much information out there that is just drowns out, you know, what the quality and value that we should.
Let me explain two more things about this whole model, and I'm going to explain one more feature, and then I'm going to explain what you're talking about you know, connecting the dots. So let me show you another feature. Like I said, it's expansive, it's scalable, because we can also compete. We've already shut down Facebook and Salesforce. We can also shut down LinkedIn, because if you are a legitimate business, right? We got real information. We got legitimate information about the product and service. We got engagement with the clients on them using it. People are still going to live and talking about it. All of this engagement based on your service or your product. And we know that it's legitimate because there's also feedback. So that's one thing we can do, feedback on the service and product. We can also do all of the people on the app. They may want to go and say, I work for this company. So you already connected your employees or your outsourced people. Now you created this database of that company. Does that sound familiar about LinkedIn? And here's the craziest part of what LinkedIn has never tried to really do. LinkedIn, has this whole platform of companies. And then for you to be able to try to market your company, they spam you. You don't even know me. You haven't even set some kind of engagement, but you want to send me some kind of an email or tell me that my birthday came up or my anniversary came up. I don't know you.
Great point, Coach, because LinkedIn really is just now itself relevant because they're the only ones around. You don't have any more job boards. So they're just relevant right now, but they still haven't utilized the stuff to get people engaged. They're just a one-stop shop. So you're absolutely correct because they don't know how to tie people together. But that's where, because they haven't, what they haven't implemented? They haven't implemented podcasting. Once you
streaming,
to Coach, you need to go on a podcast tour, and I'm being brutally honest, my man.
People told me this years ago. I agree.
You gotta, come up with the, something where you got that charisma that comes across. Because like Jamie Dimon, I mean, Jamie Dimon is the biggest scoundrel out there, but he's incredibly lovable.
True statement. Oh my goodness, if there was ever a statement that was true. Yep.
He could be stabbing you slowly and telling you.
Slowly. But that smile and that hair.
Peter, you're lovable and and he could just be just taking your kidneys out and you'll be like, thank you.
So true.
So we need to, Coach, it's time.
Oh my God.
Oh, completely true. Definitely. That man, yep. That man is the leader of one of the most horrible financial institutions in history. But that man, everybody loves him.
Well, remember that clip that you showed us of Crypto when he was talking about crypto? He said it and nobody even reacted.
Nah, just like, oh, Jamie's finally on. Okay, we're good. And he was talking about that. Like, you idiots. You should get your money stolen. You're stupid. Well, now we've got a crypto. Oh, Jamie's on board now. I'm like, wow.
No. Well, he was never on board, but he definitely told us all that he was not really on board with it. But he had a different way of expressing it. It was,
They got to make money.
They setting up for the fools. All they got to do is do what Coach says, get the Pablum Puke, package it, sell it right back to them, and them clowns will be like, oh, it tastes familiar. Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah.
So
Coach,
let's.
You know what, Aaron? I can also see you being an analyst. I
would love to be an analyst.
You would have a field day going to CNBC.
Oh, I would kill it. But I'll tell you what would happen. They would shut the news down.
But that's good. You could be the Jerry Jones of it. Long as you're talking about it, long as you're shocking. I mean, the thing that you did with $1 on TikTok is so shocking. People don't even respond. And plus, I've seen it firsthand where you just these people. So you need podcasters, and you need to be that shock jock where you're going to podcasters and you just shocking the hell out of them. Like, wait a minute, I do this. Listen, I got this, and blah blah. That's what we need to be. You need to be this podcast with these filters. I just did these podcasts.
A platform where you can speak freely.
Yes.
The other thing. I don't know.
Which kind of goes back to my social media platform. But let me give you an example because I'm gonna prove it to you. Remember last year? It might not have been last year, might have been the year before. But there was a black commentator with glasses on CNBC. It was It was last year that he came in and says that tariffs do not create wars. And I came on Zoom and I did a whole breakdown and I show you the history.
Yes.
That it does in fact create wars. So I want to give you an example. If I was on MSNBC and one of those reporters said something stupid like that, I would hit them right there on the live. I'm telling you, let's go to commercial. Take me to commercial. You don't want to say that stupid ass.
We out. Bye.
See, that's how you get up to that level, Coach. You know, you should be on freaking Joe Rogan, man. Just avoid Shay Shay. But anybody else that's really serious, you should really be talking to their people, their gatekeeper team or individuals, and getting with them. Because a lot of times it's just one individual. They don't have a whole team. You just got to convince one person, and they need as much influence, because that's where we're at. Okay, who knows what the hell they're talking about? Let's put them on the show.
Yep. And like I said, that's really what I want that social media platform to be. Nothing but real content, safe content, no embellishing, literally. You only give the legitimate news. And like I said, when the AI flags it, and the AI is going to flag it sometimes, and it's going to be wrong, which we already told you, AI is going to pull from other areas of the internet. All right. But if it does flag it, because we're gonna build echoes inside the algorithm for the social media platform, but it's going to be able to recognize, wait a minute, this does not seem legitimate. Prove it to me. Go out to the internet, go and give me a citation that proves that this is real. And once you prove it, then proceed. You can go ahead and upload that video. And I'm telling you, it's going to stop a lot of this stuff, especially with the AI content. There's a lot of AI content coming out that's also illegitimate. So like I said, we'll build all of that in there, but that's a part of it. What I was saying is that, having people on the platform, because I know I'm not the only one. There are other people like Mr. Global giving you nothing but the real information. Aaron, what's the Aaron guy that gives you, and the news girl? These are legitimate people.
You should be. That's what in the last 3. I mean, really, you gotta start doing that on a small scale, and then possibly using getting some AI prompts for just PR. And then what type of podcast profiles should you target? What, topics in industry should you, target, or go after, and scale? If I meet with somebody in the medical field, and I can meet with somebody over here in, other field in these, so when I'm talking about this, and somebody, hey, we heard you talking about, security features on with the markets and stuff and other features, and you said you also do this other stuff. Yeah, I do. Blah blah blah. So people are talking about specialty, what they specialize in, and come to find out they know other stuff, just like News Girl, just like your guy Mr. Global. So that's what you should be doing is creating prompts. We need a whole section just for PR, because right now we've been in the R&D department for 3 years, Coach.
Yeah.
Every time we talk, really, it's R&D. It's time to get in the sale in the PR.
But let's lead into that. So I looked it up, and what I'm trying to build is the Real Truth app. So I would call it Veritas, which is Latin for truth. I would not do the truth app that Trump has is not Real Truth. So if you want Real Truth, the word is Veritas. That would be the name of the app. But let's bring it back home to what you're saying. So that's kind of what we're doing here, right? Because we got to be able to find the capital. So let's go through some of these. Number 1, we got our own trading that we can build capital reserves. Number 2, we also are talking about going out and offering this to the investment firms where they're going to pay us tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. All that is working capital. And I even showed you guys that I would share that revenue with you. So if we are this kind of, by default, if we become this kind of a development group, and everybody is putting in their percentage on building this, and then we have rounds of funding. So yeah, we already have the makings of what I call a brain trust. We are the brain trust. Every single person in here is intelligent, background, history, education. We can build this to what you're saying, because we can talk about it as much as we want, but that money's going to talk. And that's literally what this is about, is raising the capital reserves, going into those type of investments. So we already got the mechanisms in place. We just got to find that sweet spot where the money's going to be coming in. And that's literally what we're doing right now with pivoting and going into a different area. So but we already got the brain trust.
Beauty about today's environment is that we got other people that's going to help shout it out for us. And that's the only thing you're missing, Coach. Really, you just need a hype man, a hype team, where every time we put Aaron Valley with Cheetah Investors on this show, that's all. If you get people like me, Abina, Ashanti, you get people like us, and you put it out there, you're going to get more people. You just got to get them to talk. Right now, we talk about ourselves. You got to get out there. Send these invites, pick up the phone, because I sent you one over the weekend. And I can't even go to that guy, because once you remember that when you say, hey, this is how you know the housing market has changed. And I sent you that podcast invite. He's right here in my state, but there's other ones just like it. And these guys want to create content. I mean, we've got one internally where we're using that iEmerge I showed you, and we're taking all that data and we're cold calling these people, but I'm scaling it down to where we're pinpoint the same way we're doing this, I'm doing there. And none of us have a PR department. So like we discussed last year, everyone is starting from the starting gates and going out. No one has Time magazine picture cover of the year, if that makes sense.
Let me give you this final thing, because it's also going to lead into what we're kind of doing with all of our different businesses. And that's why I gave you, if you look at the target markets that I gave every single one of your business, I'm giving you what I call the plug-in. No company should be running on batteries. You should have a direct plug-in where you're getting consistent revenue. And I gave it to every single one of you. All of your business models, you can plug into some kind of an industry, a sector, a corporation, a government, whatever it is. And that will give you consistent revenue and customers and clients coming in. Right? So like even your pipeline is fueling my credit, and my credit is fueling your pipeline. So we're plugged into each other. But even with Damien, the dealerships, the associations, everybody has a plug-in. And that is not just the revenue on autopilot, but the marketing. So everything that we're building already has the mechanisms you're putting in place. We just gotta press the go button and get it started.
The funny thing, Coach, is that we all have the marketing mechanism in place. We just don't have the PR. No one has PR, because we don't, you just don't. Everyone's scrolling and doom scrolling. So you can't focus on one thing. You're not looking for that coupon in your daily newspaper that you open up and it falls out, and that's what you're looking for. You're not at the store or place and you see that magazine and you go and pick it up, and because you're used to it. You don't have that anymore. Right now you got it's like, wave after wave of information. So people are trying to constantly catch their breath. That's why it's critical to pick these people out and put them in an area where you could talk to them directly. And that's where the podcasting comes from. So that's the reason why I haven't even approached it, because when I do talk to them, to these podcasts and do these podcasts, I'm going to bring up Credit Quest. I'm going to bring up medical field that we have. I'm going to bring up trucking, because these realtors in this industry, they all are in these different industries, web designs, security and stuff. So when I bring this up, it's going to be relatable, but I'd rather have a platform, because the difference with social media is that you got to come out correct out of the gate one time. You can't be fixing it and trying to rebrand your stuff. So that's why I'm gonna do, some direct calls, gather that data, and then, filter it into someplace else. But that's what I'm working with to kind of get the ball going, to get the so people can start talking about us.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing of why it's like a slow build, because even with all of we want to get it out there, and this is something amazing, and this will benefit everybody, and we can make a lot of money, all this kind of stuff. Here's the one reason why we just can't tomorrow say, okay, let's do this, because we have to be able to handle the intake.
Exactly.
We don't have the infrastructure.
Exactly. That's my biggest dilemma. I don't want it, just like you said, quality over quantity.
There you go.
That's the biggest dilemma. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Correct.
You got it. It doesn't. We got to build the infrastructure to handle the intake, because it's going to come in fast. If we have something different and special and beneficial, they're going to come in fast and hard. And because you cannot facilitate everybody, some people are going to get a bad experience. which I kind of already, was able to narrate that, where we control that inflow and say, hey, I only can handle this amount of people, which builds up the anticipation, but still core concept, we don't have the infrastructure to handle that influx. And some people just won't understand it. But here's the other part about this, because I want to reiterate this before we end the live. What I just showed you with that social media concept is phenomenal. Literally, that engagement, the filters of real information, and that engagement, because even the engagement has to be real. AI is going to be looking at your comments on both sides, influencer and influencee. It's going to look at that dialogue to make sure that everything you're posting in there is a level of legitimacy. And if it's not, it's going to flag it. It'll hold it and say, hey, verify this. And isn't that what the verify and the veritas is? The veritas is the verify. Verify that this is correct. Go out and get me something. Give me a link. That's all you got to do is, and I'll tell you that I know it's possible because I do it right now. If I'm in the comment section and when TikTok opened up the characters, where you can put as many characters, and I start talking to people in the comments and they would say, that's not true, I would go out and get the links. I would put the headline and the link. I would do screenshots of the AI. I'm verifying it. That is what the veritas is, to verify that the information is correct. Real truth.
That's when you do your Mr. Global. That's when you do your Mr.
All of them. Yes, all of those people that we know are legitimate.
Comments, you put it on the screen. I like to respond to this, and you get the discussion going. You get the debate going. You
got it. The engagement. Yes.
You do it for 30 seconds, and you be consistent with that, because that's the only thing you need. Because you done it like maybe twice, and it was just on TikTok. So you really got to get out there. And again, we need you on LinkedIn. We got to have on LinkedIn, because we're going to be ready to get where we're going to be able to get all this influx and manage it is through the WhatsApp. The same format you have for Cheetah is the same you have it for each and every one of these business ventures that you have, because it works and is the most precise, and it gets the conversation going. And then once they get in here and they see all this value, then now we got them. Now they're going to be able to talk and tell each and every person that, hey, these people here have different departments and professions that, man, he's got a team of people. They've got a team of people and stuff. So that's what you got to get out there and start talking, Coach.
I'm gonna tell you the 4 pieces of what my concept is for that social media. Number 1, something like TikTok, the original TikTok, phenomenal. Number 2, like you said, LinkedIn, because if you are doing something, because that's really what social media is turning into. TikTok has turned into social media, into business. You're able to market your business online. Whether you're just by your mom and pop, or you want to establish a legitimate business like LinkedIn. So we're bringing in mechanisms of LinkedIn where you can establish a business. And then, like I said, people can follow you and say, hey, I work for this company, blah, blah. And then that expands into that. We also, like you also said, is WhatsApp. WhatsApp creates communities, right? And isn't that what your influence group is? But you should be able to separate them, because once they follow you, it's like coming into the WhatsApp. And then now inside the WhatsApp, you can create groups that people can follow additional groups to get more information. So we're bringing in the concept of WhatsApp. And then the last piece that a lot of these people have is Substacks, where sometimes you want your information to be textual. Even though TikTok is a video app, an image app, bringing in the Substack features, you can now do articles and different textual. And I'll even tell you one more feature. There's an audio version where you can do, it's like live, but it's not video, it's audio. Does anybody remember that what's the name of that app? I'm gonna put it in the description, and Google will tell me. What's the app that creates groups? that talk audibly. With no video. Clubhouse. Anybody ever been on Clubhouse?
No, but I heard of it. That's the one that you said for investing, like for angel investors.
Well, I found an angel investor in a Clubhouse in one of their rooms.
Right, but you have
yeah, but somebody introduced that to me. Originally, it was only available on Apple. And literally, you basically go in there, you set up your profile, all of that. You follow people the same way, and then you create these events where, you know, on a certain day and time, and it's literally alive. But there is no video. It's just you, and you can bring people on your panel. You can remove them from the panel, and it's just a bunch of dialogue. And then you can mute people, unmute people. It's literally alive, but it's only audio. So I would add that feature. So like I said, it's all of these things. That's the idea of what I'm trying to do with the social media platform, the Veritas that I'm trying to create. But from there, we can now create another version of Facebook where we're now downloading that all of that legitimate real-time data, and we can shut down Facebook, Salesforce, and maybe even LinkedIn. Because people don't want to deal with LinkedIn because, you know, it's the amount of spamming on LinkedIn is crazy. Because people don't know how to engage and build a legitimate relationship. And I've called people out. Why are you contacting me? Well, I'm just trying to, but I don't know you. Why are you, and my business consulting comes through. Why are you contacting me?
I found that
Go ahead.
Has a lot easier feature to start this PR that we're talking about, because you've got, they've got a reel, they got texting and other, but what you're talking about, where one, you could be where because you got different types of postings and influence. So some may be, talking like News Girl and Mr. Global, and then you may that use music and they just use video, so they can put content together because they can have engaging music, and you're seeing something, and they put the content in there that's verifiable, from either the internet or AI, whatever. And then you have others that are just reels where, you just got to post that, they're showing the video, like you showed me that house walkthrough, but you got some facts being scrolled on there with some music in the background. So we just need to capture their attention for like the first 15, 30 seconds, and we got it. And Instagram is the best platform from what I've seen that gives you all of these best practices. They show you how to put it together. They show you where to go. They have way more tools. Like, wow, I see why. Because Instagram has got to be competing with TikTok. And Instagram used to be TikTok's beat. And now Instagram is like, well, we got a whole They pretty much got all of, you can make a whole production with the way Instagram has it all broken down.
And I already said before AI even took over, the way that these people were creating these transitions, you got people who just learned it on their own with their phone. They can literally direct or do different transitions and different what's the word for it? Graphics and special effects. You got people that had never went to college, and there are people on the same level of the people that are at the studios. You got better content. You got better movies and clips on TikTok, better than most of these movie studios.
Who can present
doing it on their phone?
Better storyteller. That's what
and that's the thing, like the scripts, all of it. So, like I said, this is the future of what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to build with this social media app. And I'm telling you, that real-time data, verifiable, will catapult. And then, like I said, I want to end the live, but here's the final piece. Can you imagine the kind of money that we are positioning everybody to make by giving them that engagement? They're getting legitimate followers. Everybody has 10,000 followers, and it's not cosmetic. It's not cosmetic followers. You're getting 10,000, 20,000. And we've seen this where people have 1 million followers, but they're not legitimate. Because somebody had a pretty face. Because who won this award at the last TikTok? And she got it because of pretty privilege. She has nothing tangible on her account. But if we can get these people, and we're not saying that those should not exist, because what's the black guy from Africa that's the number one followed person? We should have those kind of people on the platform. But there should be another set of people that come to the platform that are legitimately trying to have some kind of business. Because even with those kind of people, as long as they're engaging in the comment section, no problem. But there are some people that want to come on there and establish their business, their product, their service, and their engagement is going to equal a lot of revenue. You got 10,000 followers, you can't help but to make money. Especially if I'm sending out your video, your image, your slide presentation, your pitch deck, your audio, your Substack. You're inviting them all to your live, whether it's audio or video. They're getting an invitation. Think about that. 10,000 people just got an invitation to come to your live. You don't understand the kind of money you can make if that goes out to your entire follower list? Direct access to your customer base? Stop it. And I don't know why other social media platforms haven't caught on to this. That makes the bulk marketing legitimate because we qualified the followers because it's legitimate. You're engaging. There is no spam because you're engaging. It checks every box across the board. This is my vision of what I want to create. But let's get through this part first, guys. We can always go to that. All these business ideas, because if everybody is working with their business, here's a final mention. If everybody's working on their individual businesses, and then, like I said, we're building this thing where you're taking your revenue into your investment plan and retirement plan. This is just another business that we can take some of our revenue and invest in as a group. If everybody's making all this kind of money, and then we have our brain trust, take 1,000. Everybody puts in $1,000 a week, $10,000 a week as everything grows. And then now we go out and get angel investors and different things. We can build all these ideas, but it starts with this brain trust. What's happening right now in this Steady Profit University? Sky is the limit. So hopefully you guys see the bigger picture of what I'm trying to build. When I created this room, I knew what it was going to come into. I didn't know how, but I knew if I created this group. So I'm not completely surprised that we're going into credit, going into business, expanding things out. Because I told you that we were going to be able to do that with being able to teach people how to use AI. I already expected that to be a thing where we work together to create that portion of the business. But we can springboard that into other aspects of tech, because this would be a tech firm.
AI presentation class.
Yes.
Think about it.
Yes. And I'm showing you all the mechanisms. I'm showing you how to do the Zoom. I'm showing you how to do the lives. I'm showing you how to do the WhatsApp, every single thing that you need to do to build that business. And I'm already showing you every mechanism. And then I'm even giving you the scalability and the education on how to build your own business.
Coach, that's a business in itself, just the PR. Yes. How to do proper PR. So that's what I'm talking about, AI PR. Let's turn this handicap into a benefit, into a money-making tool. Let's find the proper way to present everything that we have using AI with PR.
That's the key. Nobody knows how to leverage the AI. And we literally are training every single day, 5 times a day. We're training ourselves on that.
That's what we need. We need to see, okay, which is the first leg of the race, or should it be a trifecta? Should we do podcasts and social posting and okay, so we podcasting, social posting, and the third one would be it would be social media. But it would be all the different aspects that I just discussed as far as constant PR. So you got, the different types, because we're going to need three. We're going to need one with like a likeness of you or you, and then another one with one of your thoughts or something, for that day or month, a quarter, because it's got to attach to that current event. Like right now, you wouldn't be talking about something because you already know 6 months down the line, this is going to be this. So you're going to have to scale it down to cornbread language so you don't lose people. We lose them. So,
and I'm going to tell you another thing that I'm already thinking about when you say AI, because we want to show people the different ways you can use AI. So if I was to do a podcast, let's say we went that direction. First thing is I'm going to call the podcast Geppetto. And they'll figure out what that means as they go in there, because all we're going to do is talk about how to leverage AI, how to become an AI engineer. We're going to talk about prompts and all the stuff we do on the weekend. We can literally turn those things into the podcast. But here's the one thing I'm going to do. We're going to turn every single one of our avatars into an animated. So we're not using our real images on the podcast. Everybody's image in real time is going to be it can be on like a nice little 5-10 second delay, but all of our AI generated animated characters will be the ones talking. And I promise you, you're gonna get way more engagement with people. And I know it sounds weird, but people will sit there and be amazed at the AI characters talking back and forth.
It's gonna have to be connected either the WhatsApp, the website, or somebody individual of some sort, because it's gonna have to be interactive.
Yes, exactly. Well, because and I would even do that. Like, then that's kind of what the Clubhouse is, where you have like maybe a 15-20 minute podcast where only the members, only the board, and then you open it up to questions and engagement afterwards. And then we definitely want a moderator that can kind of keep everybody engaged, or take a comment and then throw it into the group where we can talk about it. But at the very end, we would open it up to the whole audience where we can now engage with them. And keep in mind, that doesn't exist on a podcast. 99% of all podcasts is the board.
Exactly. We're going to be presenting something to them that's going to add value, and then eventually have a following and then have our own podcast.
Yep. Because truthfully, people are just in the comment section just giving their comments. But we're going to have moderators that are going to pick the right comment and bring it into the conversation.
Because we already know they're going to try to, piggyback or reverse engineer it and make it their own.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But if we engage like that, the number one thing about engagement like that is Veritas, because people are going to come in and put all kind of stuff in that comment section, but we get a chance to dispel some of the things that are not true. And that's where the moderators come in, or this and this. And then we can open up. It's kind of like a Freestyle Friday where we just, after the original board talks about the topic, we open up that topic to the rest of the audience, and then we engage. We talk about what's real, what's not real, what's future, predictions, speculation, echo. We talk about all of that. There is no podcast that does that. So I'm in agreement with you. But we can literally start off with what we do on weekends. Have a podcast, set a date and time, and just start talking about what we do with the AI engineering. Go ahead.
Cheetah AI PR.
Something like that.
Yeah, seriously. That's where it starts. And then the dialogue's got to be the same. But, we'll chat up some more. Yeah.
But you guys, mold over this stuff, kind of, filter it down to, how it benefits your particular business or what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build in the future. But this is what I see. I've always had this when I created this, that we were going to probably get into maybe, once we learn how to use the AI, we can then offer those services either as courses, as consulting, bringing us in to teach. This has always been my idea. I didn't know how it was going to come across, but we now see a little bit now how we can build into these kind of things. All right, so we're good now. We have our models. We built our 3 models. I'm going to go ahead and download those 3 models. So starting tomorrow, is tomorrow Wednesday? I'm always a day off. tomorrow, Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, so we got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. So we're now going to take those models. We're going to run through everything. We're going to stack our new NVIDIA indicator. So we still got to build the Echo, which should take a couple of minutes. But as far as the actual stack of the NVIDIA and the index futures, we have that. We got the 2 originals. We got the 3 indexes, which is good enough for now. I want to build the Echo, which should take a couple of seconds because it's based on those 4 criteria. And then now it's just about, and then we can literally stop there. We don't have to go into the positional, we don't have to go into the rhetorical. If we can just run the model down from the original NVIDIA to the 3 index futures, and then that Echo based on the 4 NVIDIA catalysts, if we can just get through that this week, we're good to go. Going into next week, we can get into the rhetorical, get into the positional, get into the centroid, get into the inverted. We'll work on that all next month. So the only thing that we have to build is tomorrow, we build the Echo, and then we just run it. Everybody on the same page? And then here's the other part. We're going to test it out the following morning. So that 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, we're going to test out to make sure to see if that indicator is giving us a nice little lag that we can take advantage of. Because if it happens during the intraday, it should come around and cycle back around the following pre-market. So we're working on this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, getting everything in line. We may have to go back and kind of double check to make sure the models are accurate, make sure everything is in place. But we fine-tune the original 5, the 2 NVIDIA, the 3 indexes, and then once again, we create that Echo, which will give us 6 total. We should go into next week with those 6 models, stackable, one after another.